I got one from Zeno, founder of the Stoic school of philosophy. He says, well-being is realized by small steps, but is truly no small thing.
So yeah,
Right.
so it takes time to
Yeah,
get to that
babies,
place.
yes.
Yeah, but then once you get there, it's super
Exactly.
impactful.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And that's what the daily practice is about.
Yeah.
Small steps every day to
Yes.
just constantly reinforce. And before you know it, you have this big thing
Yeah.
called well-being. And again,
Mhm.
in the framing of this channel, when we talk about health, we're talking about mental health, we're talking about physical health, we're talking about spiritual health, because there is no separating the three. They are one. Health is health. Mental health is health. What do you think? Like, the mind doesn't have an effect on the body? Like, if you're constantly having anxious thoughts, it's going to have a physical effect on you, and it's going to have a spiritual and emotional effect on you. So there's no separating these facets out. It's well-being of the entire being, not just mental health or physical health.
And that's
or
what
whatnot.
holistic is, right?
Yeah.
Like the whole.
That's
the
correct.
whole thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know Zeno. What, he's a philosopher, you said?
Yeah, he started Stoicism.
He did.
Yeah, he's the founder of Zeno of Citium. So he was a very rich merchant, and on one of his voyages, he basically had all of his wealth tied up in one cargo shipment, and he got shipwrecked.
Oh, no.
And later on, he says, "Thank God I got shipwrecked. If I hadn't, I would have never discovered philosophy."
Yeah, totally.
Right?
Yeah.
But at the time, it was
probably
bad news,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And so then he went to Athens and he studied with, I believe, Diogenes the Cynic. He was like well known for being, he would like live in a broken, like he lived in like an old keg on the street. His only possession was a clay cup so that he could drink out of the river.
Yes. But then he saw that person with their hands at the stream, so he chopped his cup.
I don't need that shit. I can just drink it out of my hands. Yeah, I love that story.
Oh, that's funny.
So I think Zeno studied under him and then decided that, that's not really for me, but he took certain elements of cynicism and then he created Stoicism, because he used to teach at it was called the Stoicoele. It's the painted porch. So there was like this, like basically these long buildings, like the Agora or whatever, and he would stand on this porch and he would like teach his philosophy. Okay. So Stoic comes from the Stoicoele, which is the painted porch. So it's the philosophy of the painted porch.
And there were steps. First thing I thought when you said that quote and I processed it, it made me think of Cocoa Head. Oh yeah. So we were just in Hawaii visiting my sister and brother-in-law, and so let's read this again. Well-being is realized by small steps, but is truly no small thing. Wow. So that's where I went. And then you just told me this beautiful story that ended in steps. So Cocoa Head, during when Pearl Harbor got attacked, they built these bunkers up in the mountains because they were afraid of getting attacked again. Obviously, we probably would have done the same thing, but there's bunkers still everywhere. And so when you go on hikes and explore, you come across these bunkers, and there's this one place called Cocoa Head, and it's basically steps, and it's all the way up. It only takes about 24 minutes to get to the top, but it is insanely exhausting and challenging. It is a crazy workout, and it was amazing. We did it twice, but it made me think of the steps, because at first it's like, you're awkward, right? When you first start this spiritual journey to holistic health, to well-being, to spirituality, whatever you want to call it, right? Self-discovery. It's hard. Those first few steps are uncomfortable, and they're wide and they're big and they're sometimes really unpleasant to take. But as you go, it gets more enjoyable and you feel good about it. And so that's what it made me think of. I love that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because even though like physically it was harder on the way up to Cocoa Head, mentally you were like in it, right? You were in it to win it, and you were committed, and then you feel so amazing. So it's like you got to get past the physical, and then once the mental gets on board, you really get to experience that deep, peaceful, soul connecting place. I don't know.
That's a great. I never would have even thought of that from that quote, but you're totally right, because it's like a bunch of individual steps leading you to the top of a freaking mountain. And the views, we should put a picture of it. It was just stunning, but but that's like the journey to self, spirituality, holistic living, well-being, all of that. They're those little steps. A bunch of little steps lead you to the top of a freaking mountain where you can see the whole world.
The other thing too is at first you can't see where you're going.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, and then I remember like as we were getting up, I would turn around and like look, and I was like, whoa. Okay, I'm getting somewhere, right? It's like, yes. And even though you're exhausted and sweating, you realize you're getting somewhere. And I remember that when I first started on this path I felt lost at the beginning, and it was scary and uncomfortable. And then
it's when you turn back that you see the progress that you've made. Yeah. So in hindsight, but in the moment, it doesn't always feel like you're getting anywhere.
Yeah.
That's a really good analogy.
Yeah. That's what came to mind.
No, that's awesome. I'm glad you shared that. You're made for this.